Hi, and welcome back to the Mob Mentality Show. I'm Chris Lucian, and co-host is Austin Chadwick. And today we're going to talk a little bit about coaching credit in Retro Bowl video game and in software teams. And yeah, Austin, what are you thinking here? This sounds interesting.
Yes. Me and my wife recently had our fourth kid, and with that comes with all the newborn stuff. And so I'll get to our topic soon, I promise. But this is the genesis of the story. And so I don't know if it's the same experience for all y'all, but for me, in the Cynefin framework, a newborn is in the chaotic, complex realm of you're just trying to survive at night because sleep is all over the place and you don't know what you don't know until you're doing it. And so you're just constantly in that mode of I'm just prepared, I'm just poised to adapt, and we don't really know what's going to happen. You can't make a plan, work the plan, and it'll just go flawlessly. And so one thing I learned during that process is when I had really, really low sleep, nothing would keep me awake to help with the baby. I tried, preparing mom mentality episodes. I tried coding. I tried all this kind of stuff. Nothing kept me awake except this video game my kids are playing called Retro Bowl. And as I started to play the game, half asleep, I realized that there was this concept in the game that, at least in my mind, that made sense to me at 2 a.m., directly applied in several ways to software development. And it's this idea of coaching credits that the game has. And so, Retro Bowl is this game where it kind of looks 8-bit. It looks like a video game from the 90s or a long time ago, where you are the coach of a professional football team, American football, for those of you who live outside the United States. Um, and so everything is very low, quality as far as like the graphics go. But it's actually quite complicated, the scenarios the game puts you in for coaching a team professionally. So you're dealing with salary cap and upgrading stadiums and training facilities and recruiting players and meeting with players and game strategy and all that kind of stuff. But there's this concept in the game called coaching credits. And at first you might think it's like money, but it's not. Money is a whole different concept in the game. It's respect and trust from players, staff, and fans. And then that was kind of a light bulb moment for me in that I think when you're doing software development, you have the same kind of thing, whether it's coaching credits or team credits, that I think is very important to be cognizant of as you're working within your context, whether that's your organization, your customers, your stakeholders, et cetera. And so I'll go through a couple ideas, pardon the monologue, Chris, and then I'll ask for your feedback on it. But the first concept is that how do you get coaching credits? So I'll go from the game and then to software development, each thing. But in the game, you get coaching credits via winning and relationships. And so you win games, you build up coaching. Oh, you accomplish 3 coaching credits, or you build relationships like meeting with owners or meeting with fans and those kinds of things. Um, and so, similarly, in the software development world, I believe your team or your coaching, whether it's at a team level or more of a higher level, director level organization, you develop this kind of invisible coaching credits when you quote unquote win or develop relationships. So, in my mind, in software development, the key to winning is, extreme programming, mobbing, test development, continuous delivery of value, because once they feel the flow of value coming in, they usually respect that and they start to trust you. And in Retro Bowl, I had to like learn like this like QB scramble move that works even when you have a terrible team with, very low quality players or whatever. And that's the way you can start building up credits. Um, and so I feel like in the software world, that is a known entity. You can use, these values, principles, and practices to build up coaching credits and having good relationships, good conversations, whether that's, speaking internally, externally, good, conversations internally, externally, meeting with the various parts of your organization that matter to what you're working on. You start to build up these credits. And then, so kind of going back to the game, so now that you have coaching credits, whether you're teaching internally in your team or they see that, your team is delivering value, you can use credits in the team, in the video game to improve morale, improve conditioning, improve skills. You can recruit and draft top talent and players. And I think I've seen the same thing in software development. So via mobbing, you can help improve morale, the conditions, the skills of other players now that you've kind of built up that trust and respect. And the more coaching credit you develop in the community at large, you're able to be like, oh, I know that organization or I know those people. I would like to join them. Or, that seems more, of a possibility. And
So how many coaching credits is this episode worth?
yes. Maybe I'm going negative because Austin is talking too long. So Austin lost 3 coaching credits in the community via this episode. But yeah, and so that's kind of inside the team. Yeah, and maybe we'll pause there before I go outside the team. But yeah, any of this jiving with you, Chris, or am I just
Yeah,
the
no, you're
ravings of a
totally.
mad lunatic at 2 a.m.? So
There's two things that this reminds me of. There is this video game that I'd seen in the past called Game Dev Story, where you like hire
Mm,
artists and programmers and make video games, and it's kind of like a management sim. So I'm getting from your description, it gives me a few flashbacks of this. And inevitably, you can like sell yourself short by, buying into the short term and losing stuff. But also, I certainly think that, delivery for a team and like actually having small wins especially is something that I feel like develops that level of maybe interpersonal credit that you have with team members as you work on software, which then I think in the end results in the team being able to just try to trust each other more and rally around problems more easily and things along those lines. So I think that's what you're getting at.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that the small, yeah, the small wins is the only way out. I guess if you have 0 coaching credit. Yeah, I mean, because so I think maybe there's kind of a sub point that you inspired me there on. If you guess at your current level of coaching credit, and let's say you guess it's around 0 or it's a low number, a risky move would be, hey, let's go big negative, right? Like, hey, let's do a big bang release, and I think people are going to feel uneasy about it, whether they'll let you do it or not, because you haven't really built up that trust and respect
Right.
anyway, right? Um, and as we know from how software development goes, the chances of that winning is pretty low. And then also if you lose, you're going from 0 to negative 100 or something, right? And
Yeah.
so small wins is in my mind like the only reasonable way out. And then same thing with the team. Like you join a team and you're like, "Oh, I have a skill I can teach them." But they don't really know you or you haven't really built up trust with them. They're not going to want to do a 5-day seminar with you to teach them the skill, right?
Right.
But if you pair them up with them and they're like, "Oh, that was a cool thing you taught me. Oh, maybe I'm more open to hear you like teach me something, longer than a few seconds now. Or, oh, wow, you contributed that thing. Maybe you know about that, and so I think in my mind, at least in my experience, the only way out is small wins. But maybe there's
Well,
this big bang strategy out.
I
Yeah.
think so there is like the benefit of the doubt that people give you. So I think just like any form of credit,
Hmm.
I think you start in a position where people are willing to trust you initially, right? And then as you
Mm,
borrow against that credit, to
yeah.
extend the metaphor, um, you put yourself in a more and more troubling situation until you quote unquote break the bank and you can't take out any more credit. Uh, in which case, then really bad things are happening. And so,
Sure.
I think that there are ways to develop trust, and there are ways to break trust, and I think that there are, it's much easier to diminish trust in those big bang release scenarios. Unless you're doing something that is extraordinarily predictable, and
Yeah.
which software development typically is not, and so there is that aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cool. Well, I'll extend the analogy a bit further for outside the team. And so in the Retro Bowl video game, once you built up coaching credits, you could use it outside the team to one, hire other coaches. So when you start out the game, you have like 1-star coaches, and then you can build up to 25 credits. You can go get, the 5-star coach and have them join your team as well. And then what that does is it levels up all the players on the team, go up several stars when you do that one move. You can improve the environment. So once you have coaching credits, this is kind of at the more meta system level, you start gaining respect in your org. You can say and be like, hey, we're using, a hacksaw right now, or a chainsaw would be much better. We use the money to get a chainsaw, or whatever the software development equivalent of that is. Or our environment would be much better for learning if we weren't all separated by these cubicles or whatever, right? So you start gaining enough respect to change facilities and that kind of thing. Um, and the big one in the game, the most expensive coaching credit thing is to increase the salary cap. So to increase your spending for more and better players. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely have less experience myself with that, but I've definitely seen in organizations kind of more from the, outside, or at least from the team level, is that when several teams or mobs gain respect, there is more trust at a like higher level to, hey, let's go get another mob, let's go stand up another team because there's more good things to do. And so yeah, that's what's your thoughts with coaching credits outside the team, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think you sort of described the evolution of our department in general. Is like,
Mm,
we started with a team of five, and we were kind of at zero credit when we were starting out, and then as we started delivering, and it led into mobbing, and then we started delivering even more. Then that built trust and with external stakeholders, which then back then we were just uh, reserving meeting rooms to mob. Eventually, we took down the walls of the cubicles and put a projector paint on the wall, and we had a mobbing station externally. And even then, before that, I guess there was a conference room dedicated to our team until we had that specialized space. And then gradually that became a department and scaling by 10 times the size. And then, from there, bringing on different products and things along those lines. So I think that it's very salient to our situation and history.
nice, yeah. And my favorite part about all this is morale all around.
Yeah,
Like, so in the game, it gives me warm fuzzies when the fans are happy, the other coaches are happy, and the players are happy. But if you use your credits well, you keep building up those small wins. The way you can feel it is that trust and psychological safety is just there, it's just given,
right.
and morale tends to be pretty high.
Yeah.
You go through waves of trouble. But what that morale does is it enables you to overcome other difficulties much more easy. You can't literally ask your stakeholder, "Hey, what's my coaching credit number right now?" Like, obviously, that would be bad. But you can kind of feel it in the respect and trust and the morale. I think is my at least one observational data point you can just kind of look at. And one other note is this coaching credit concept is very similar to the Seven Habits book of highly effective people. I think he called it emotional credit or something like that,
Mm.
where you got to build up the bank
Yeah.
of trust kind of thing. And so yeah, don't be too transactional with it. Like, hey, I just delivered a feature, well, you're not going to let me do a facility upgrade. What's your problem? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it's something you can feel. So, for example, like, um, there's times where delivery is really high. Then it makes refactoring experimentation quite easy to do without being
Right.
questioned, right? You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, yeah, do the refactoring if they've come to find out about it because you're delivering. Yeah, do what you got to do to make this product good.
Right.
Where in the game, if you try to do something, you don't have enough credits, you get this prompt that says, you do not have enough credits to upgrade this facility. You don't have enough credits to do this thing. I have seen the anti-pattern where almost coming from maybe it's just prior credits from other teams or other people or something. Some people approach a situation as if there's this high level of coaching credit and they'll make a stand like, we're not going to deliver features and we're going to go do this thing. And then they walk away from the stakeholders or customers with that kind of
Mm.
stance. And I'm not saying there's not a time and place for that, but I think it just goes a million times better if you build up coaching credit and then do that move if you have to or whatever.
Right.
Or in the first place, do whatever the thing you're trying to do incrementally as you're delivering value. But I think just being cognizant of when you're near zero and then when you're in that mode, go for small wins versus I'm going to do the controversial thing or do a big ask. You know, when you have 100 coaching credits is when you cash in, not when you have one.
Okay.
And so I've seen it go kind of sour when it appears to me someone doesn't have that awareness of where their coaching credits are at. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Being in a sort of abundance situation where
Yes.
and building up that abundance is a
Right.
lot more comfortable than asking for things when you have next to nothing to stand on,
Yeah,
for those
exactly.
requests.
Exactly.
I totally
Yeah.
get that. And I think um yeah, and a lot of those behaviors I think can be um kind of stacked on top of each other and just finding times to interact with people in positive ways, making sure that uh you know I think that like treating people with radical candor as well as you know delivering frequently and
Hmm.
or having high quality,
Sure.
those sorts of things really stand out to me to help with that sort of path.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great ways to get small wins for sure. And start building that up. Yeah, big time. Cool.
All right.
Anything
Well,
else on this, Chris? Or are we ready to shut this one down?
yeah, no, I was just thinking that it's a good analogy. Maybe we need to make that game one day so that, that we could have the official mob mentality show game. And just to drive the drive the thought a little bit farther. But yeah, so to any of you out there, we'd love to hear in the comments about if you found yourself delirious with no sleep in the middle of the night and thinking about software development, what thoughts were you having? Were they like Austin's, this far, down into the depths of his psyche? And what did you think about this episode? We'd love to hear it, and share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks for the story, Austin.
All right. Adios. Thanks.